All right, so yesterday I made a mug using a slab, made a cylinder, put some handles on it. One thing I forgot to mention yesterday is that when you finish that, when you create something, it is always a good idea to let it dry slowly. So you're not taking that and putting it directly in the sun, you're not speed drying it with a hair dryer, but what you might do is wrap it in plastic and just leave it. Because if you pull a handle or you slip and score, those areas are very wet. The rest of the clay may not be that wet. And it's going to suck up that moisture, which can cause splitting. The handle might split off, the joint might crack. And then when it goes into the kiln and it goes up to 2,000 degrees, that's a lot of stress and it has a higher likelihood of breaking. So let it dry slowly. Give it a chance to even out and dry slowly. So this is the mug that I made. I have wrapped it in plastic. I left it overnight. I usually like to do that when I add handles. So you can see that I wrapped the plastic underneath the bat, so it's nice and secure. So let's see how it's doing. All right, so that's the mug that I made. Been working on, made a series of videos. There's the other handle if you didn't see it. And now it's feeling firm. It's kind of feels like a soft cheddar cheese right now, not like a hard cheddar cheese, but like a soft cheddar cheese or cheddar cheese that's been sitting out for a while. So it could firm up a little bit. It's definitely not at the leather hard stage. But it is, you can, at this time or when it gets a little drier, this is the time when everything's attached to go over and do your final like cosmetic thing and smooth up any like little flaws that there are. If you've got a fingerprint on it, you can smooth that out. You can use rubber ribs or whatever else they're called. I don't know what they're called. These things, but you might not have those. This is a nice one because it's very soft and floppy, which is great, but you might not have that. You could also try using a metal scraper. Oh no, don't do that. Come on, guys. What was that, like a Bert voice? That sounded like Bert. Come on, Bert. What are you doing, Bert? So you can do that to scrape it up. You also use a sponge, get it a little damp, and just kind of go around, smooth a little bit. You can use a brush with some water. Maybe not too much, but you can do that to smooth out some pieces. And if you're using water and you're going around joints like this, wrap it up afterwards. Just because you're adding water to that joint, it's going to soak in. Just let it have its time to even out, to dry out. So, and one of my favorite techniques is just to take like little, you can see cracks, there are a few cracks there, and just to use my finger, just kind of smooth it. So there's like a little texture like that. I mean, basic primitive tool. Smooth it out. This is also a good time if it's still wet enough, you can add texture to it. You can take a carving tool or a stylus. You've heard of styluses for like smartphones. Oh, it's a stylus, or you can use it to do stuff, so we don't have to touch it. It's a stick. That's a stylus. That's what I mean. A stick. It could be that, and you can carve. You can scrape a design. You can like write things. If you use the needle tool to write things, you can leave clay bogies, which is the English term from like England for boogers. And they just have these little things, and it just get kind of cloggy and clunky and ugh. So use like a ballpoint pen or something a little thicker. It's going to be a lot better. But that's the time to clean up any surfaces. Remember, we're going to put glaze over them. So a lot of the small texture may disappear. It might show through depending on what glaze you use, but it doesn't need to be super fine. And so do as much as you think is necessary, but do it with skill and intent. Don't leave it just happenstance and slapdash. All right, there's the mug.